Hello, I'm Mantastic and Fantastic, and today I'm going to be talking about the Bleach Collab that has come to North America. So, the Bleach Collab has made another appearance after quite a long gap, and if you owned any of the cards from the previous time, they look quite different because essentially everything has been buffed to try and keep pace with current affairs. And this is obviously nice because some of your favorite cards are now more valuable, but unfortunately it was only the 6 stars or top rarity cards that actually received weapon assists. And this definitely decreases the value of duplicates because if you roll a duplicate of a bottom rarity card, it's unlikely you're going to want to have a second one. Whereas if they had weapon assist forms, at least it gives them a bit more flexibility. So that definitely is a bit of a drawback. But on that same note, every card in this event will cost only 5 magic stones to roll, and being on the cheaper end means it's a little easier to justify rolling. And there is a reasonable distribution at all rarities, but in terms of rankings, 2 out of the 5 bottom rarity cards I feel are worthwhile and strong. And because of that, I feel it is worth maybe a few rolls in the hopes of getting one of those 2 cards because they most likely will bring value to your monster box unless you have stronger options available. Remember, if you do say even just 4 rolls, that's only 20 stones. It's not too big of a dent, and I feel like this can almost be viewed as like a pseudo filler collab until we get to something a little stronger. There's a bit of value to roll in right now, but it's not worth rolling heavily just because, again, duplicates are undesirable and you don't want to just get a lot of the bottom rarity cards because you only need 1 to truly take advantage of them. So, as a quick summary, like almost a spoiler so to speak, I decided to start adding the bottom rarity cards as a little summary image here. So basically you can kind of just get a general idea of what their awakenings are and what ranking I gave them. So it's the 2 bottom cards that are truly spicy and wonderful, and when I get to their respective sections, I'll explain a bit more why I feel that way. Regardless of all that, let's jump right into the 6-star or the top rarity cards. So Shinji is the only new 6-star card to be introduced in this event this time around, and they have value in all 3 of their forms. So in their base form, they have proficient damage against devil type spawns. You could get double 7 combo VDP double devil killer or double 7 combo devil killer. Like the point is you have strong damage output against devil types, and you have 3 skill boosts. You also have devil god typing, so just keep that in the back of your mind when you think of asymmetrical leader pairings, because asymmetrical pairing is honestly the way of the future. You want to try and get as many other metrics mechanics as possible because you want to have, like, say, auto follow attack or 7x6, and there's no leader that provides both, so you need to asymmetrically pair. So, in terms of their active skill, it's the same in their base or evolved form. It's for 1 turn, a small 1.5 times attack burst for devils, and then reduce all bind and awoken binds by 5. So it's on a 5-turn cooldown, which means it can be readily accessible, but it's useful because, well, A, clearing binds and awoken binds is always helpful, and B, that little attack buff, even though it's not a massive source of damage, it can be used to overwrite any existing damage debuff, which is becoming more and more common in higher level content like Arena 6. So if you are able to overwrite those attack debuffs, you won't have the problems that those spawns normally would give you. So that is definitely a strong point. In terms of their leader skill, it's quite well rounded. They've got reasonably solid health and recovery multipliers. They have strong attack multipliers. And basically you need to be a rainbow matched team. You need to hit 4 more colors for your full attack multiplier, and then plus 2 combos when 5 or more colors. So on a 6x5 board, you may or may not always get to tap into that extra combo count, but when you do, it's going to be much nicer. You still have Skyfall, so you can Skyfall into something. And as I mentioned, they have a God and Devil typing, so that means you can favorably pair with cards that are such as, but not limited to, Dire, A10, New Year's Reach, or a future Godfist exclusive, which we don't have yet. But basically, you want to pair with something that's going to provide the most value for your monster box and provides a metric or mechanic that you can't necessarily have otherwise. If you pair with Dire, you get the auto follow attack damage, and with that plus 2 combo count from Shinji's leader skill, you're more likely to tap into his 10 combo awakening, which will basically be your main source of damage. So that is definitely something to think about. If you need 7x6, A10 solves that. New Year's Reach just gives you a nice 6x5 bulky leader, and that's the main idea. So you want to try and match what you have versus what benefits the asymmetrical pairing will do. Just be aware that you only need 4 out of 5 colors to actually deal your full damage, but with 5 colors you tap into the plus combo count. Dire needs only 4 colors for his full activation. In their evolved form, they become a much more universal offensive solution because they gain 2 natural VDPs and a 7 combo while having the same Super Awakenings. And that just gives a much more proficient VDP damage, which is important if you're playing that type of team. And in the case of them here, their leader skill is just a straight strong multiplier boost to Devils. Strong effective health, 2 times health, 2 times recovery, 25% damage reduction with a single leader. That's solid. You do have 16 times attack, which is quote-unquote lower, but it's definitely something you can work around. So their leader skill has no matching clause, it just has a typing clause. So you can use any colored devil, and as long as you match 7 or more combos, you deal your full multiplier. That can be meaningful. Now, at this point in time, I feel like Light lacks a truly amazing light devil to pair with, which can be a little problematic. You could pair them with Yugi, which Yugi is the best devil leader at this point in time. You gain so many wonderful aspects, but then you're basically playing a double Yugi with a leader who's not Yugi. That's kind of the trade-off. If you don't own Yugi, this is definitely a way to tap into Yugi. If you don't have any other options, you don't have Hermé, you don't have Nell, this can be a way for you to jump onto that train, especially if you have cards that can help facilitate it. Furthermore, you do have 3 skill boosts, so again, it makes it easier to hit Yugi's transformational requirements, so that can alleviate some team building stress. In terms of their weapon assist, it's providing several valuable metrics. This gives you an L unlock, 60% poison resist, and then 3 turns of 3 times attack boost for devils, and then full bind, awoken, bind, clear. So there's 4 useful mechanics here. The L unlock is helpful if you have no L on your team. I always like to bring at least 1 L on my team because it gives me the option and flexibility to unlock the board at will without using an active skill, which is important. 60% poison resist is pretty self-explanatory. Stop poison orbs, your life is just better. And the 3 turns of burst is sizable. It's a sizable burst. It can be used to execute spawns, or it can be obviously used to overwrite existing debuffs. And bind and awoken, bind clearing is obviously helpful. So you're combining 4 valuable mechanics at the same time, but I feel that at this point in time, a little bit of it is going to waste because the best devil team, like I said, is Yugi, and they don't care about poison orbs being present. So that the poison orbs don't really play much of a role in this point in time. So you now kind of drop down the weapons as this efficacy down to 3 useful metrics. If we get a devil-based team that obviously does not have immunity to poison orbs, this weapon assist does increase in value. But again, remember, if you just utilize it for the attack buff overwriter and for the bind and awoken, bind clear, and the L, it's probably still valuable. Just bear in mind that you may not get every mechanic if you use them on your Yugi teams, but it is a solid weapon assist to have all around. Next is Ichigo, and they have many forms, but very few of them are, only a couple of them are useful, so I'm just going to be kind of scrolling down through the forms that people probably won't be making. At this point in time, this form here has at least a bit better stats. It has a plethora of different awakenings, which is different killers, which is not the best, so I feel like this form here is not necessarily where you want to end up. But if we get to this final form here, his dark blue form, he becomes quite a powerful leader. So his active skill provides you with 2 turns of a sizable burst when you have multiple dark row awakenings on the team, and then 2 turns of +1 combo count. So it's a potentially a very large burst because it's plus 50% attack per row. That's quite sizable. And if you have a team of multiple rows, this will stack up very fast to being a huge burst. So that can be definitely a solution there. And the +1 combo count is never a bad thing to have. Unfortunately, it's on a longer 15-turn cooldown, so it's going to be harder to actually inherit something over top of him if you plan on actually utilizing that inherit. But it's okay, you probably can get away with it. They also provide you with 4 skill boost, which again can help you transform, and then their leader skill is just 4 times health, which is not the high, which is high of course, but 16 times attack, so not the highest multiplier numbers, and you have no skyfalls, which can be a little problematic, but you do gain +2 combos when matching 6 or more dark orbs, and his subs are any dark attribute card when matched, and basically just need to match 6 or more dark orbs, have dark subs, you deal your full multiplier. So we want to think, how can we asymmetrically pair him to really capitalize upon it? Well, in theory, you can pair with Yugi. It's the exact same playstyle. I know it sounds like I'm just pushing Yugi hard, but Yugi is basically one of the best leaders in the game at this point in time. So if you can pair with him favorably, why not do so? If you own Ichigo and you don't own Yugi, this can be a possible solution. And it can be useful. You do have lower multipliers overall, and even though Ichigo himself is not a devil type. Having one card that's not the correct typing is okay. His 4 skill boosts are going to help it so you can transform much more easily. You don't have to just run a bunch of Fortress Dragons, which most Yu-Gi teams do. It gives you a bit more flexibility in those regards, which is obviously helpful. And the +2 combo counts is probably going to make up for the chance of Skyfalls. I feel like Skyfalls, like, I don't know the math of what the odds are for a Skyfall to occur, but you take away Skyfalls and give +2 combos, I feel like you're going to come out ahead on average most of the time. So this can solve some of the combo count issues that 6x5 Yu-Gi teams face, which can be helpful. And at this point in time, 6x5 is preferred to a certain extent for Arena 6 if you plan to play it repeatedly. If you're going for like a one-time clear or a slow clear, a 7x6 leader is fine because you just have to stall more on no Hime, which is doable, but if you're trying to go through as many clears as possible in a shorter time, it's not the best approach. So this definitely can be a solution for Arena 6 for Yu-Gi on 6x5 boards. And now we come to their final evolution. So their final evolution is a Balanced Devil, and just by default, I hear Balanced Devil, I think Nell Yu-Gi. But at the same time, I don't feel very motivated to really use them as a sub because they have, well, 2 God Killers, which is nice, but 2 Enhanced Killers, which is not going to do anything. And TPAs don't synergize with blob-based leaders. It just does not. So it is a little awkward overall, I feel. And the active skill, like, it could be useful if you want to have a full board changer and you want to have small beneficial metrics of a time boost and a small attack boost. And again, those can overwrite existing debuffs. And in fact, this active skill at an 8-turn cooldown is great value because a Dark Kali board, which provides the same board changer, is 7 turns, but has no extra benefits. So you definitely could use Ichigo as like a rainbow sub solution if you need to have a rainbow board changer with 2 useful small buffs. In terms of his weapon assist, it gives you 60% blind resist, which is always helpful, and an enhanced heal orb, along with a massive panic button that gets you out of trouble for 2 turns, 100% damage reduction, 2 turns, 3 times RCV. Basically, if you press that active, you're going to live for 2 turns, and you basically can just survive, which is nice. And it's on a 20-turn cooldown, so it's unlikely to accidentally charge up, so you won't be having this big panic button unless you really planned for it. And that is meaningful. And I love having long cooldowns on weapon assists if their active is situational, because it gives me more flexibility. And with this enhanced heal orb, you are able to bolster the healing output of your team by matching just a single 4-heart match. And you obviously want to inherit this on someone who has naturally high RCV. So it can be a great solution. And the only drawback of this weapon assist, I feel, is super resists are becoming a bit more common, and it means that weapon assists that provide only 60% protection are less effective compared to running a sub directly who provides 100% protection. Like, at this point in time, I feel like the way to maximize your inherits is have super resist on your subs and just cover like Cloud and Tape and like just those 1 awakening counters through your weapon assist, because they tend to be a bit easier overall, I feel. But again, that's a small little nuance. Next is Yamamoto, and in their base form is so similar to their evolved form, and you might as well make the evolved form because I don't feel Combo Orb is really worth it overall. You'd rather just get that VDP damage because things have voids, you might as well pierce through. So with this form here, you have many fire rows, you could have 4 skill boosts, or you could have meaningful VDP damage. You have that flexibility. Their active skill is a double orb changer of waters and heart to fire, and then 2 turns of +1 combo count. So a way to flood the board of fire to blast away your opponent. Their leader skill is straight up 10 times damage for fire attribute. Just, you have it, 100 times damage just for existing. That's nice. And then you get bonus damage when you match 6 or more connected fire orbs. So you're really going to want to match 6 or more connected fire orbs for 20 times personal damage or 400 times damage with dual leaders. Huge amounts of explosive damage with just a swipe. You could use a full board changer of fire, swipe, boom, damage. Make a row, swipe, boom, damage. Like, lots of ways you can farm content quickly. And that's basically what his main purpose is going to be in this form. You're going to farm stuff fast. You could pair with Halmaru if you want to have an auto follow attack so you can ignore resolve. It's just a way to efficiently clear easy content quickly, which, again, how important is that to you? It really depends on where you are at this point of time in the game and whether or not time is an issue. In terms of his weapon assist, it provides 60% jam resist, which I feel is the weakest metric to cover compared to blind or poison, and a combo orb, which I'm not a fan of. It's just not an efficient awakening. In terms of their active skill, it's 4 turns of attribute absorb cancellation, and then 4 turns of a small attack buff. Small attack buff is used to overwrite debuffs. That's naturally helpful, which are more common in higher end dungeons. The 4 turns of Attribute Absorb is a little excessive, but at the same time, if it is going to work out, it's going to be helpful. So for the most part, this is a situational weapon assist. It's not something you're going to bring all the time, but if it's something that you need to have, it's going to be valuable. And for that reason, I feel like it is mostly just situational and niche, but useful. So Rukia does come back, but the problem is Rukia did not receive really any love. I've had some viewers tell me that they're very sad, because Rukia was something that was very powerful and special to them, but it doesn't do much. We're going to jump through the first 2 forms because that's not what you look at. You want to look at this form here. And sadly, this is not much to look at. You have 3 skill bind resist, but it's just wasteful, I feel, because usually you need more skill bind resist if you are transforming and you're utilizing cards like, say, Fortress Dragon, who cannot provide skill bind resist naturally through either their Fortress Dragon or Dark Magician Girl form. So this is a way to correct it, but this is a little excessive. And Rukia themselves only brings 2 skill boosts, and really not many other awakenings or even a useful active skill. So it's just awkward to justify utilizing them as a sub. Where can you really utilize them as a sub? They don't have much damage, they don't provide much utility, their active skill is just a column of water and enhance and haste. It's not that impactful, so they're not doing much. And as a leader skill, they have no effective health. They're going to just get hit by basically anything and just die. It's not going to be effective. So it's just kind of sad that a character who was strong in the past has not kept up to the extent we were hoping for. Furthermore, their leader skill needs 2 water combos, which makes it very difficult to VDP and kill. It's just orb hungry, and if you can't stall because of no health, just problem. In terms of their weapon assist, they provide you 400 bonus attack damage and full bind immunity. How valuable is this? Well, we have so many more bind immune options that it's not that special. And plus 400 attack, unless you're utilizing it for a specific poison or button damage card, it's not that helpful in the grand scheme of things. Because let's say you have a card of 3000 attack. Giving plus 400 is only a 13.3% increase. It's not that high. It's only for 1 card. Probably not that meaningful. But if it's a thing that you need to use as a button or as a poison, then it does become a bit more valuable. But again, that's quite niche. By comparison, the Farmable Gung-Ho Pally Machine Helen card gives you plus 50% personal damage when above 80%, which you can manage, I feel. And then 2 Enhanced Water Orbs, which improves the damage output of your entire team. So we've just got a Farmable Pally Machine card that is basically providing more damage for the whole team than this top rarity weapon assist. It just feels a little sad overall. The active skill tied to the card is useful. I'd say full unable to match orb effects, but the awakenings are not what we really want to have. We want to usually get resists for the most part. Aizen has received many different buffs and whatnot, but in this form here, he's not doing anything really good, to be honest. There's he could have super poison resist, but that's it. There's not much else he is provided. So we want to look at his other forms. So we look at this form here, and this was the cross form that dominated Pad for a long time. In the early arenas, it was one of the best leaders because he had damage with no cross. He could control his damage with multiple crosses, but at this point in time, crosses are awkward. They take up space, and if it's 2 dark crosses, oh, this is even worse because you don't have much damage without 2 dark crosses. So that's going to cut down your combo count. That's 10 orbs on a 6x5, so 1/3 of the board has to be dark. And to make matters worse, if you have to VDP, you're only getting 1 cross, which means you're only hitting for 12 times, so 144 times with 2 leaders. Not going to happen. It's just awkward overall. It's not a valuable leader skill anymore. Yes, you do have 4 times health and recovery with dual leaders, but if you can't feasibly kill anything, what's the point? It's going to be orb hunger, it's going to be slow, it's just not where we want it to be at this point in time. And furthermore, their active skill is kind of weird, I feel. You do change fire to hearts and wood to dark, but you change your own attribute to dark. So it's kind of weird. Half the time he's not going to be dealing much damage because he's a main water card, but half the time he will have proper damage. I am not a fan of this color changing ability. It feels gimmicky and unrewarding overall, especially when you're the wrong color for at least half of the time. It's just a lot of awkward things overall. Thankfully, in their new form, they gain significantly more value because they become a tremendous damage solution. So, they have huge personal damage against God-type spawns because you can get 777 combo VDP and a natural God killer. Woo, big damage. And at this point in time, The Arena 6 is populated by gods. Gods are the new devils, so to speak, for this dungeon. Like, god killing is good. So having a tremendous damage solution against the most common and dangerous spawn in the dungeon is meaningful. Now, water does have many other strong VDP damage solutions available, and it's a matter of you prioritizing the one that will benefit you the most. You can't use all of them at the same time, so it's a matter of finding out which one is going to help you for your given team, and obviously it can help you resist the urge to roll Aizen because you may not need him because you might have things like Dina or Gamila or other things along those lines. So either way, let's take a look at what else he does other than that. In terms of their active skill, it's a 12-turn cooldown that will always generate 9 water orbs and then plus 1 combo count for 2 turns. So it's a great finishing active skill. You guarantee yourself a VDP, most likely enough combos for those 7 or more to tap into his full personal damage multipliers. A great finishing ability overall, never going to be bad there. In terms of their leader skill, you do have strong damage output and you do have auto follow attack damage, but you must match 3 or more water combos, and you only have a small 25% damage reduction multiplier. So we have seen matching 3 combos of a specific color for auto follow attack through Alice, but Alice worked because we could pair with Fasca, which gave you 7x6, and Alice did have a better spread in terms of health. I feel like she just provided more effective health overall, so that is a definite bonus. Aizen does not have as an ideal 7x6 pairing because Fasca is just so strong. The multipliers are big. You could pair with Minaka, but the multipliers are much weaker by comparison. You won't have that much effective health, so things can get a little dicey, I feel. You will have damage output from Aizen on a regular basis, but again, I feel like it's just not as fundamentally strong of a pairing. I feel like Aizen is better suited as a sub at this point in time. But either way, tremendous damage potential. In terms of their weapon assist, it gives a skill boost and attack while above 80%. Those two together can be helpful. You want a skill boost all the time, I feel, when you transform, and giving that card bonus damage can be meaningful. Of course, you should only really prioritize offensive awakenings if you cover all your defensive metrics already. If you can't cover your defensive metrics, it's more important to find solutions for those as opposed to giving more damage to a card, unless damage is the biggest issue holding you back. In terms of the active skill, it gives you a board of light, heal, jammer, and poison orbs. Light, heal, jammer, and poisons, all to water orbs. So a big, heavy orb change to water, and then plus 3 combos. Again, a nice finishing card. Of course, that works better if you have auto follow attack, and you don't have to worry about making a column of hard orbs. So the opportunity cost for this weapon assist is pretty high, I feel, because, like, compared to Kaiba, who's another great VDP damage solution, I feel like Aizen has more value in this form compared to the weapon assist, whereas Kaiba's weapon assist is much stronger. So let's say you own Kaiba and Aizen, I probably would keep Aizen in this form, Kaiba weapon assist. So I feel like the opportunity cost to not use his offensive god-killing form is much greater than his weapon assist benefits. So I would not make the weapon assist unless you have so many good damage solutions already. Now we come to the 5-star cards, which will definitely see a dip in terms of value because they do not have weapon assist forms. So the first is the Orb Skin card, who can provide 3 skill boosts along with reasonable personal damage. Their active skill is a fast 3-turn cooldown, which gives you 4 fire and 4 wood orbs, along with 0 times RCV. So you cannot heal, but you overwrite RCV debuffs, and you generate orbs that you need to have to deal damage. Their leader skill is quite unique. It's big 400 times or 20 times with a single leader, and then only 25% damage reduction. But you cannot match or erase 3 or less orbs. So your matching of 3s doesn't work. You have to match 4 or more, so TPAs are definitely preferred. But wait, she is a physical card who wants to match red and green at the same time. When I hear physical and matching red and green, I think Grigory. So she can definitely be an alternative Grigory pairing. Now, you can't match 3s, but you want to match TPAs, which is what Grigory wants anyways. So you're going to be matching that to begin with. But you get plus 3 combos when matching fire and wood, which is what you need to do. So this can solve the combo hungriness of Grigory teams. Like, it can be difficult to get big combos on a 6x5, but if you're able to hit, say, like 5 or 6 combos by just blobbing orbs together, you now have 8 or 9 combos. Much more consistent overall, something to keep in the back of your mind. I think that's pretty exciting overall as a unique leader pairing twist. And she provides 3 skill boosts, which can be meaningful because it can alleviate skill boost requirements so your subs can alter and change to bring cards you want to have more likely. So as a whole, I feel like she's quite a strong card, and like if you do not own Gregory but roll to her, you can start pairing with him, especially if you have a lot of the stronger subs already and you just wanted to try that play style. And that is the orb skin they provide. Next is Shifar, who is much weaker. You provide 4 skill boosts and 5 enhanced dark orbs. That is nice, but that's kind of all you do because their base active skill is a burst, but it's just a burst that stacks from enhanced dark orbs, which you can get to high amounts, but I feel like you're not going to really get that high. It doesn't scale that fast either. The Row guy above scaled at 50%, but again, he was a 6-star card. Ichigo scales at Rows at 50%. This guy scales at Orb Enhance at 25%, much less fast scaling. So it's going to be difficult to justify utilizing this as your burst because it may not be high enough, because just his own awakenings themselves, it's only 2.25 times attack. Not that impressive for a 14-turn cooldown. And that's kind of all he does. It's skill boost, orb enhance. So it's some passive damage, some skill boost, but not much in the way of resist. Not that many skill boosts either. But again, it might be something you need to utilize for your team. If you're lacking damage and skill boost, it can definitely be a solution, but I feel like there are better options out there, especially considering his active is quite weak. Grimmjow used to be, well, it still is a desirable card, but it used to be one of the best button solutions in the game because it was 250 times damage to all enemies on a fast 6-turn cooldown. It was a great solution for especially solo builds that wanted to button through content because you could do so without too many skill boosts. So it definitely has merits there. Unfortunately, or fortunately, more options have opened up that is not as unique and dominating compared to what it was originally. But again, he's one of the few cards where duplicates are useful because more buttons is never a bad thing. So the main idea is you want to set your team's health to 1 and then button with Grimmjow for big damage, ideally on someone with naturally high attack, so you it capitalizes upon that 250 times as much as possible. Of course, that's kind of the main usage of them, and if this is a playstyle that has like no appeal to you whatsoever, his value definitely goes down because that's an active skill that does nothing in arena-style content. It's really for buttoning through content as fast as possible. They do have a reasonable leader skill. They do have auto-follow attack when matching water and wood, and it's not a bad thing overall. These are reasonable multipliers, but you need to be water and wood to get the... Well, you need to be wood to get the HP multiplier. You need to be water for the attack multiplier. So, like, it can be a little restrictive in terms of the cards you can bring. And again, his active skill is not that good either. So if you have 2 leaders with that active skill, it's not the most amazing. I guess you could pair it with Fasco for an attacker if you really want. But then again, it's just, there's a lot of... I feel like it's not the greatest leader overall. Next is this individual here. And they provide a mix of passive damage and super jammer resist and 3 skill boosts. And it's actually 4 effective skill boosts because of a single turn delay. So you get passive damage, 4 effective skill boosts, and a jammer resist. So if we compare it to Shifar, we have the same number of skill boosts. We have similar amounts of passive damage, but you give a full jammer resist and an active skill which is faster and stronger because you are able to clear unable to match orb effects by 5 turns. So I feel like as in a vacuum, this is a stronger solution card overall. But at the same time, jammer resist is not the most valuable resist to have. It is nice, but it's not something I would prioritize. And I feel like it just lacks an ideal home because it wants to match Dark Rows to capitalize on these rows. But really, the Dark Row teams are dominated by Yugi. You could use them on Ina teams, but again, it all depends. I guess it could be off-typing on Yugi teams if you really wanted, but I just feel like there's no perfect place to really capitalize upon them. Next is Toshiro, and their main value is creating a full board of water orbs with a single turn haste that can be inherited. So for swipe farming teams, this is definitely a great solution. They come with super poison resist, so it can alleviate that. But again, if you're using orb changes every turn, poisons are probably not an issue. Basically, the idea is you're trying to farm content quickly and mindlessly. So you get a full board of water, swipe, things die. The problem is, it's not really a problem, it's more so that we have a wonderful farmable solution through Machine Noah, who gives you the same board changer, while not inheritable, but you want to utilize them as sub or leader anyways, so it's just cutting into his niche that he used to have. Before, Toshiro was instrumental for farming builds because you couldn't replicate this easily elsewhere. Now we have other solutions, especially from the farmable, that definitely lowers their value. And then lastly, for the 5-star cards, we come to this individual here. And they provide super blind resist and a bunch of wood rows, but only 1 skill boost. And I feel like they're just not that valuable overall. Like, their active skill is quick. It creates a row of wood and then 3 jammers, but jammers are a little awkward. And only 1 skill boost means you can't utilize them on transform teams. I feel like they're just not providing enough value overall. I feel like Susanoo provides more unless you're really gunning for those wood rows, because Susanoo gives you 4 effective skill boosts, same super blind, and a shield, which, while not always needed, can be great to have because it can save you from like executes or it can save you from preemptives, or it can be used to stall out the first couple of turns before you transform because you might have enough effective health with that shield to tank it. So I feel like they're just not being utilized that well overall. Now we come to the 4-star cards. So as I said at the beginning of the video, 2 out of the 5 are great. 3 out of the 5, not so great. This is one of the not so great cards. You have double balance killer with the ability to take balance killer latents. So you're basically just a balance killing solution. It's useful for, again, certain farming builds or certain ranking dungeons, but there are so many other balance typing killing solutions that they're not that unique nor special at this point in time. They have low attack, so again, it further lowers their potential overall, and that's really all they are. They're just a very niche situational card that you might bring out once in a while. This individual here has the ability to have 8 times personal damage when below 50% health, so that can be meaningful, but they lack a VDP, which means they can't be a true damage solution because if there's a void spawn, they do nothing. And while their active skill does provide you 2.5 times burst and a health reset, I feel like they're just not providing enough. And at the same time, wood is not really known for their attack while below 50% cards. There's no real place to truly capitalize upon this individual here, I feel. Next is the worst card I feel in this event. They provide some jammer resist, a god devil killer, some TPAs. Woo! I'm like, I don't do anything useful. Like, I guess you can get a tape resist, but like, they don't provide much of anything. Their active skill is 2 turns, light orbs more likely to appear. Create 3 light orbs at random. It's just doing nothing. Like, this is a card I feel like I'd roll and be like, I will forget about you within 5 seconds that quickly. Like, you're not providing value. There's no weapon assist. Maybe in the future they will get a weapon assist. So again, if you do roll one, you should at least keep one because there's a chance it could be better because you can't really get much worse. Thankfully, we're going to end this video on a much higher note because the next 2 cards are much more exciting. So with Sado, you can have full blind resist, good metric to counter, 5 skill boosts, or 3 skill boosts and cloud resist. These are a lot of valuable amounts of utility in one card, and their active skill is changing the top and bottom row to fire orbs. Ooh, my mono fire team just got very happy. I can have lots of fire orbs for lots of damage, lots of skill boosts, super blind resist, and possibly cloud if I don't need that many skill boosts. A lot of value stuck into a single card. So mono fire teams, especially those that transform, will definitely like them. The only drawback I feel is that Duval is just a better super blind solution that provides lots of skill boosts as well. So I feel like if you do own Duval, Sado's value does go down, especially if you're planning to use them for that physical typing on Grigory teams. But again, if it's a row-based team, maybe Sado is better because of those rows that provide a bit more damage output. Duval is VDP with TPAs and super blind, but a fast-charging useful active skill. Again, pros and cons. If I had to pick one, I would pick Duval, but harder to roll by comparison. This is why Sado, I feel, is quite valuable, especially at the bottom rarity. So if you are on flip-flopping between their Awakenings and Super Awakenings, I would recommend you choose the Super Skill Boost as a Super Awakening because Cloud Resist can be acquired via a weapon more efficiently. There is no 2 Skill Boost weapon assist available, aside from like those that give Skill Boost and Haste. But that's a little different. Skill Boost Haste or Skill Boost Delayed. That's a different story. But you can get Cloud and a skill boost in a weapon through Fagan Rise Weapon Assist. So I would use Fagan Rise Weapon Assist from a friend if you don't have one, and then give Sado his 5 skill boosts. It's just a more efficient usage of your Awakenings overall, in my opinion. And now we come to the final card in this whole event, who is also wonderfully strong. They have Super Poison Resist, useful metric again, 2 Enhanced Wood Orbs, a little passive damage, why not? You have 3 Enhanced Heal Orbs, I can heal now. And you have Cloud Resist through Super Awakening. That's a lot of value stuck into one card. Obviously, her weighted stats are terrible, but the thing is, it's her attack that's abysmal and her health is pretty bad too. But her RCV is very high, and that's all that really matters for this card because you want to heal as much as possible. But the best part is, you can stick on the Umbrella from the Gintama collab, and wow, you have a full Bind Immune card who has 4 enhanced heal orbs, a Fujin style active skill that is 4 plus, I think, 17 turns or so? Like, it's a relatively fast charging Fujin style active skill because you have a 4-turn base cooldown for this individual here. So it's a lot of value and utility on a single card. And yes, she only has 1 skill boost, which makes it harder to transform, but the sheer amount of value they bring to the team, I feel justifies only having 1 skill boost. And the best part is, if you're not transforming, you don't even care. So as a whole, I feel like this card is tremendously strong as a utility solution, especially if you have the Umbrella weapon, because I feel like the Umbrella weapon is the best one, or the Gung-Ho Yomi, I forget the name, the one I use on my A10 all the time. That's another good solution as a weapon assist. So in terms of the farmable cards, this individual here will cost 5 Rainbow Exchange tokens, and I feel like they don't do much. Their active skill is 2 turns, recover 100% max health. So if you do not have something that can heal you to 100% health, maybe this card can be helpful, because like say you don't have a base Amaterasu or series, you lack a full 100% heal for your Zeusverse farming or ranking dungeon team. Could be useful, but I feel like it's a pretty big stretch. I don't think the 2 turns of healing is going to truly pan out. You probably could find other solutions for getting around it. I don't feel like your 5 rainbow medals would be that valued here. Like, I still have lots of rainbow event medals, and I don't exchange unless I feel like the card itself is going to give me enough value. And I feel like this card here won't provide that much value overall. So now I come to the do I plan to roll and dream rolls section. So I do plan on rolling a tiny bit on my stream later on this evening. Like, I just want to get one of the good 4-star cards. That should happen within, like, say 4 or 5 rolls. That shouldn't be a far stretch overall. But I don't want to roll too much because duplicates really scare me in this event. So in terms of my dream 6-star card, I want Shinji because I feel like they'll provide the most value. All their forms are valuable. It gives me the flexibility. I feel like the weapon assist might be the form I put him in at least long term, because in terms of leaders, I feel like I have alternatives, but I definitely would probably tinker around with them. They're also new, which is always a good sign because newer cards tend to be better. For the 5-star card, again, continuing the trend, I'll pick the Orb Skin card because she is quite strong. I feel like she can open up some interesting stuff for my monster box. I do own Grigory, but maybe I could try tinkering with them. They're not a terrible sub either, because 3 skill boosts with an active skill we want can definitely be utilized if I want to just run double Grigory leaders. And then finally, for the 4-star cards, I prefer the Green Girl just because she has incredible utility stuck into a single card, and I feel like I will gain more value out of her moving forward because I do own the Umbrella weapon. So if I were to pick one of the 4 stars, I would pick her. But Sado I would not be unhappy to have. I enjoy rolling him. Again, these are my dream rolls. It's all based on my individual monster box goals and needs. So in conclusion, the Bleach collab features 2 strong bottom rarity cards, which does give justification to roll a bit. If you get one of those within a couple of rolls, I'd be pretty happy. And you have a reasonably good chance of getting one of those cards. But at the same time, I wouldn't roll heavily because duplicates are not desired because there's no weapon assist. And I feel like the event, like, it's strong or average or filler. I don't know, like, it's not that amazing. It has some good value in a few rolls, but you would stop much sooner compared to other events where duplicates are a bit more valuable. So let me know what you think about the Bleach collab in the comments below. Do you think this event is worth rolling? And if you did roll, how many times and what did you acquire? Either way, hopefully all a Mantastic day. I wish you all the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.